But after a while, the car began to make some noises. And I'm like, what is going on? The steering was not steering, it was trailing. I was like, what's to be this? I didn't pay this much for this car for this to be doing happen now like this, Lol, I said nonsense. I did not pay this much for this car for this to be happening. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Eniola, but you can call me the Global MC. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about buying a car in the United States as a student, as an international student in the US. There are a few things that you want to know before you even venture out into the wild, because it's wild out here when you want to buy a car. There's a lot of spammers that want to just take your money and run away. They will obviously give you a car, but it will not be the car that you wanted. So I want to teach you the tips and the tricks to buy the car of your dreams at a good price as well. So one of the first things that you want to do is create a Carfax account so you can be able to check whether or not the status of the car. Really, you want to be able to know, okay, is this car new? Has this car had previous owners? How many owners has the car had? The mileage of the car. You also want to know whether the car has been in any accident. That's definitely one of the mistakes that I made while I was buying my own car in the US. The person who was selling the car said that the car hadn't been in any accident and that the title was clean. A clean title means that the car hasn't been in any accident, and that there are no litigations or liens on the car as well. So that's what a clean title is supposed to be. But after I got the car and I took it to the Texas DMV to register, they told me that the car had been in an accident. And fun fact, y'all, when I checked in the dashboard of the car, there was paper or receipts from a collision center that said the car was, repaired and, refurbished. So imagine if I just, a simple thing as looking in the glove box could have saved me my money. It's still a good deal, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't have been lied to, and I would have been able to get that car at a much cheaper price than what I paid for it. I got a Hyundai Sonata 2016, and I got it for $8,000. And one other thing you want to look at is mileage on the car, because that determines, I guess, how the car runs. So you don't want to get a car that has an awful amount of mileage. If it's too high, the years that you're going to be able to drive it is drastically reduced. So the lower the mileage, the better. But it also affects the price, because the lower the mileage, the higher the price. And the higher the mileage, the lower the price. So they're, indirectly related to each other. High, low, low, high. You get the point. So number one, Carfax account to check the title and just check the history of the car that you're looking to buy. Places to look for a car. If you go to the dealerships, they are the most secure place to get, whether you're getting a new car or you're getting a car secondhand. That's a used car. They're the most secure place to go, but they also charge the most money in a ridiculous way, because why would I pay $60,000 for a used car? What do you think? Well, why are we here? What are we talking about? Hello. But anyway, the safety that they provide is useful, and I know that they also provide I think about a year's warranty with them, and then you can take your car to them for servicing throughout that year. So that's a plus. You want to look at all of your options all together. Another place to look for a car is all of the other places to look for a car. Facebook Marketplace. You want to look on Facebook Marketplace, and even if you're living somewhere that's maybe doesn't have the car that you want, you can extend your search a little bit wider, to a place where you know you can easily get to, or you can have them ship the car to you. But that's also the problem. You want to be able to see the car first before actually purchasing the car. For example, my car, the owner was in, I got my car off of Facebook Marketplace. I found them off of Facebook Marketplace, and the person was in San Antonio and I was in Austin. San Antonio to Austin is about an hour and 30 minutes. And so I got my friend to borrow me his car to drive to San Antonio first to see the car before I even start negotiating for the price of the car. So that's what you want to do. You always want to see the car first. Never ship a car or pay for a car that you haven't seen. Like I said, scammers are out here to take your money, and so do not allow them. So those are the two places that I know: the dealership or Facebook Marketplace. Those are two places where you can find a car in America. You can also ask people around you if they know anyone who's selling, and you'll be surprised. They could, they may, you never know until you try. You lose all of the shots you don't get. So that's the mantra of this channel. You should take all the shots. But anyway, you also, apart from buying the car, checking that the car is good, also obviously registering the car is very important. Listen, the only time I ever got pulled over was the very first day, literally, that I bought my car, because my number plate wasn't on my car at the moment. But thankfully, I had gone to the DMV to register it, and so I had my plates with me in the car. I just hadn't put them on the car, and so they did not give me a ticket. So that was very exciting. I'm living on the dangerous side. I was living on the dangerous side, and so I was very, I was like, okay, noted. And so I branched and got the number plates on the car, and everything worked out fine. So number one, when you buy a car is important. Number two, check the history of the car to make sure that the title is good, the mileage is good, there's been no accidents on the car. If there have been accidents on the car, that's a bargaining tool to really reduce the price that the seller is calling, especially if they have not revealed that fact when they advertise the car for sale. Another thing you want to look at is who's going to be your mechanic when you need to repair something in the car. Just for regular servicing of the car, you need to change the oil, or you need to rotate the tires, or you need to do something in the car. Whatever, cars break down all the time. That's what they do. So you need to have a few mechanics on hand, and just ask your friends who their mechanics are. I would advise that you ask older people, because sometimes younger people, I don't know where they will go to, but older people, they care about their car, and they would always take their cars to people who will treat their cars well. One thing that I would not advise is, I don't know if I should say this, but I had something wrong with my car, and so my cousin, this is a call out. I had something wrong with my car, and so my cousin advised that I take my car to his Hispanic mechanics. And so I was like, okay, they will be cheaper. Mind you, the quote I got from the regular American mechanics, and the Hispanic mechanics was only about $200 difference. And that $200 difference was some things that we had to buy by ourselves. So basically it was about $100 difference. And I regretted that decision so much, because what they were supposed to do, they did it, they said, but after a while, the car began to make some noises. And I'm like, what is going on? The steering was not steering, it was trailing. I was like, what to be this? I didn't pay this much for this car for this to be doing happen now like this, Lol, I said nonsense. I did not pay this much for this car for this to be happening. And so I decided to take it to another mechanic. And the mechanic said that when I had taken my car to the Hispanic mechanics, they had forgotten to tighten a knot or a bolt, and so something had bent, which made turning a hassle for me. And anyway, I had to pay times two of the money, basically, when I could have just gone to the regular people that were supposed to help me in the first place. So you want to be very careful where you take your car. There's a lot of mechanics all around the place. Just because they have mechanic auto shop repair on their side does not mean they are for you. Capiche? Yeah. So let's get that very, very clear. And then the third thing I want to talk about is insurance. And one of the things that's so annoying really about the US is because we don't have any track record here when we move in as international students. And so getting insurance is always a hassle. They give you like a really expensive price and you just have to close your eyes and pay it. My first insurance bill was like $200 a month. I'm a student. How much am I making? $20 an hour. If I give you $200 a month, how am I supposed to eat? What am I supposed to make it math? Make the math. But anyway, insurance is something you would have to look into, and it might be expensive for the first year. Actually, they do 6-month contracts, and so once that 6 months, your first 6 months is up, then you can begin to shop around again for a better rate. And something else that you can also look into is asking a friend who already has insurance to add you to their insurance, and then you just pay them the difference, because that would usually also make their insurance rates go up. And so if you pay them the difference, that might be cheaper than getting a whole new insurance policy on your own. So those are all the tips that I have for you on buying a car in the United States. Number one, you want to really look at the title of the car, at the history of the car. You can do that through Carfax. And then number two, you want to buy a car from either your local dealerships, Facebook Marketplace, or asking a friend or their parents or anybody you know around you whether or not they know anyone who's looking to sell a car. And then number three, you want to make sure that you really check the mechanic you're going to. You don't want to go to just any mechanic. You want to make sure that the mechanic you're going to has a trusted and tested track record, and that you can afford them really, because some people are just crazy. Don't tell them I said that. And then finally, insurance. You want to make sure that you insure your car immediately. I mean, we can all live on the dangerous side of life, but when the danger arrives on our doorsteps, we want to be ready, okay? You really want to be ready in case of incasity, as we say in Nigeria people are in a day. Anyway, those are all my tips. And then bonus tip is make sure you register your car immediately you get it, because if you don't register your car, if they steal it, they've stolen it. If anything happens to it, it's not registered, so it does not belong to you. And so you want to make sure that you follow the due process with everything that you're doing in America. Due process is king. Say it again. Due process is king. Register your car at your local DMV once you get it, and so make sure that everything is nice and clean. Those are all my tips for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you share it with whoever is looking to buy a car, or who's just recently moved to the US and is looking to buy a car. All right, I will see you on the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.